Maybe.
Good to see you.
Good to see you as well.
Obviously, during the international break, reports have surfaced again about a possible move for Trent Alexander-Arnold to Real Madrid in the summer, and with that, obviously, fans are wondering what is the likelihood that he will stay beyond this season. So, what's your understanding now of Trent's situation? What change has there been, if any, in his position regarding his future, and therefore, what has he told you of his intentions?
Now, his situation is unfortunately that he's injured. Otherwise, people would have probably spoken about him that he had one or two brilliant performances for the England team, and. But he's injured, and for him that means that he's fully focused on his recovery. And for us that means that we're trying to help him to be back as soon as he can. And for the rest, of course, for 8 months it went a bit up and down, maybe with all kind of talks about him, Virgil or Mo. But we've never been focused on those talks. We've always been focused on what we have to do. That for Virgil and Mo is trying to win the Merseyside derby, and for Trent it is making sure he's fit as soon as he can.
Just to push you on that a little bit though, given those reports, does that affect you at all, and does it concern you that this could be the end for Trent here at Liverpool?
No, because it's a situation that is there for eight or 9 months now, and I think all these three players have performed so well under these circumstances. So no, it doesn't affect me at all. I think there was a bit of noise about us losing against Paris Saint-Germain, losing against Newcastle as well. I always try to be rational and try to judge the situation. And in the Newcastle and Paris Saint-Germain situation, I don't think this happened many times that from the 9 serious games a team plays in Europe, because I don't took the PSV game serious because we were already qualified. When you win 8. And you only lose 1, that you're out before the last 8, before the quarterfinals. I was a bit more frustrated about the final, because I think we deserved to lose that one, and that is for the first time I think we deserved to lose a football game. We were not tough in terms of defending. We were not good with the ball. So there were not many things to like about the final.
It's the first time this season as well that you've lost back-to-back games, so what job have you had to do to pick the players up, and how has that been impacted by the international break?
Yeah, they immediately went to the national teams, and they've played, all of them played important games over there. So when we came back, I did come back to both situations, but I think for most of them, they didn't forget, because they know what have happened, and they are, like me, disappointed for us not winning our first trophy and being out of the Champions League. But we are also realistic, like I just said. If you played 9 games in Europe, you won 8, and you could call it unlucky by going out with penalties. That is something, I think we've tried everything in that game to go through to the next round, and I can't blame any player at all for that game. For the final, we were also outworked, and that's not what I like.
What are you expecting then from this Merseyside derby compared to your first experience of a Merseyside derby?
I expect the same, but with one difference, that every time the Everton players do something well, they don't get the cheers and the reactions from 50,000 people. I don't know how many can go in Goodison Park. But our players will get that reaction after every tackle they make, after every pass they do. And that is a different emotion. But football-wise, I expect the same, because this is what Everton have done in the last 9 games now, or last 10 games when David Moyes is in charge. They didn't lose one football game in the last 9 Premier League games. So it would be a surprise if they are going to do something different. And we are top of the league, so it would be strange if we are going to change something as well.
Sure. Well, that last meeting obviously got a bit heated towards the end. Have you given just any thought into just avoiding getting dragged into anything like that again in any future games?
Yeah, I'm hoping I will act differently next time, but I can't promise. But what I'm also sure about is that I would be so surprised if I ever will experience 8 minutes of so many controversial decisions in our disadvantage again. So yes, even if it happens, I hope I act differently, but I can't promise. But I don't think I'm going to experience that again. But you never know. Football is unpredictable.
After a disappointing result, sometimes the manager or players say we want to play again as quickly as possible to get out of our systems. But it's been 15, 16 days since Wembley. What's the feeling here? Are you now desperate to play? Is that the sense you're getting?
I definitely am, because it's been 15 or 16 days or even longer before I last managed a game. But many of our players played 1 week ago important games for the national team. So, but everybody can understand the position we are in at the moment, that we're all looking so much forward to the upcoming 9 games. So yeah, players are refreshed in my opinion, but it wasn't all negative. We've played a final, so we've managed to play a final against a very good Newcastle team, and we had one great game, and the other game we defended really well against Paris Saint-Germain, which was in my opinion the best game in the Champions League so far, and we got beaten by a very, very, very good team. But wow, what a game we played as well. So yeah, you can always look at the result, which was not the way we wanted in 2 games, but I was proud of our performance against Paris Saint-Germain. It was maybe the best game we've played this season, but unfortunately we lost it on penalties.
Hi Arne, you described the previous 3 matches as being cup finals. I just wondered if you take that attitude into this game and into the remaining league games you have, despite the fact you've got a good lead at the top of the Premier League.
Yeah, but in the final stages of the season, every game matters, and if I now again say it's going to be 9 finals, yeah, it is for every team 9 finals, but it was a bit, because we played the final, I used the word we played 3 finals in a row, because Paris Saint-Germain was also a knockout game. But yeah, these games are very important for us, the upcoming 9, starting with the following one, and that's Everton. Not only because it's the Merseyside derby, also because we are in such a great position in the league.
Just wonder about Chiesa as well. He obviously scored in the cup final, and I know you've said before that you've struggled to sort of see too much of him in training given how many games you've had. I just wonder, given the impact he had off the bench last time, do you see him having more of a role in the team between now and the end of the season?
Yeah, it wasn't only that I didn't saw a lot of him during training sessions because we had so many games. It was also because he was more than we wanted, injured. But it was good to see that he impacted the game when he came in. That is what has happened a lot this season already, that when players come in, they impact the game. The assist was from Harvey Elliott, who has impacted the game a few times now in the last 3 or 4 matches. So it's good to see that all these players are ready, and that is partly my job, but also partly the players' job to stay ready for the moment we need them. And he's in competition with Mo Salah, and I don't think you can deny that Mo has quite a good season. So that makes it sometimes tough for him. But we know we can trust him the moment we need him. And not only him, it's also the likes of all the other ones that maybe haven't played as much as Mo and Virgil. But we can trust them every time we need them.
Arne, as the last international break of the season, is it any different from your perspective? Does it offer a slightly unique chance to maybe ramp up any plans for the summer or anything like that?
No, the only difference is that the first 3 were after maybe a month or 2 months of work. This one was after 4 months of non-stop work. So I liked this one the most, for the simple reason that it was 4 months in a row. So it was my first experience by playing in the winter as well. So this one I liked the most. I needed the most maybe as well. But there's no difference between back then and now. If you want to achieve something in the Premier League, in the League Cup, in the FA Cup, or in the Premier League, you need to compete with the best teams in the world. So the Premier League teams or the Champions League teams. So there's no room for going a gear down. You always have to be on top of your game. You have to be that in September, you have to be that in October, in March, and definitely also in April and May.
You suggested there how much you're kind of itching towards playing again, and also I imagine, as you've spoken about, there was disappointment from how it finished. Do you have any strict rules personally with yourself? Do you allow yourself a bit of time to reflect and then switch off and then start kind of building back up again?
Yeah, of course you reflect. You reflect on the first 8 or 9 months. You reflect on the last part before we had the break. And like I said, I think I'm mostly rational. Sometimes, after certain 8 minutes, I'm a bit emotional, but mostly I'm rational. And then you also reflect, and I think I said it immediately after we lost the final, that it wasn't only negatives in that week. We also extended our lead to 12 points. So that tells you that we did really well in the league. Yeah, that we lose against one of the best teams in Europe with Paris Saint-Germain was far from ideal. But if I have to go out of a tournament, I prefer to go out against Paris Saint-Germain. I prefer to lose against Newcastle, which is a great team. And I think it's an embarrassment and close to a disaster if you lose against Plymouth Argyle. I do respect them a lot, but they are not of Paris Saint-Germain quality or Newcastle quality. So if you have to leave a tournament, then do it by being beaten against 2 very good teams.
Carl?
It's rare that you hear a manager say that their players are refreshed after an international break. Usually it's concerns about travelling and stuff. But considering what you said about how they played in the final and people are talking about has fatigue set in, has the international break provided an important reset for the players just to have a bit of a break from the rigours of all that?
Yeah. So then I try to be rational again. And if I look at the Paris Saint-Germain game, I don't think in the 8 or 9 months I've been in this job, I've seen my players work that hard as they did. For 120 minutes. So maybe that was also the reason why we looked tired in the final. But again, maybe I don't give the right credits to Newcastle because they made it so difficult for us because of their game plan. So now we're all saying, yeah, we lost this because we were tired. No, I think when we were fit and Newcastle played the way they did, it would have still been a very, very, very difficult job for us to win that game because the Newcastle players were so ready for it, played such a great game. So I don't think we were tired for the simple reason that against Paris Saint-Germain we were incredible in terms of work rate and in terms of intensity. And they are maybe a bit more refreshed than after a normal international break because normally we play in the weekend and now we play on Wednesday. So most of them had a few days off as well for the first time in months that they had 3 or 4 or 5 days off. And so that is maybe the reason why I use the word refreshed.
Does it help them sort of mentally to get away from the relentless of playing Champions League and then Premier League, and international is a little bit less intense maybe in terms of the preparations and how they play? Is it almost a mental break as much as a physical break?
Yeah, but the mental break comes more from that you go to a different environment with different teammates. And for that reason, it was maybe a good moment after you lose 2 games. If you then stay at your club, you either have to win the next game. But if you go to your national team, things are new again. And it's the same if you go from Premier League to the Champions League. It's a different tournament. So it's a different league, sorry. So maybe that helped as well. That I know, for example, the Dutch team, they played Spain 2 great games. England had also 2 games, maybe not the nicest one to play, but they won both of them. So it's always nice if players go to a different environment and then come back with us after good experience. Because, for example, Lucio Diaz had 2 goals, Cody Gakpo had a goal. So a few of our players showed themselves in a very good way again.
Well, hi, Arne. Set piece strategy didn't exactly go to plan at Wembley, either attacking or defending. And if you look in the league this season, Liverpool had 26% of their goals conceded come from set pieces, which is actually the 5th highest in the league. And going up against an Everton team who scored 41% of their goals from set pieces, which is the highest including the opening goal at Goodison. Now, I'm not going to ask you if you've changed anything because you're not going to tell me. But have you spent more time working on set pieces this week than you would do maybe in a normal week?
It's funny because I try to use data as well, but I always try to use it in my own advantage. So you tell me that 26% of the goals we've conceded are from set pieces in the league this season, but we're also defensively, when it comes to corners, the best team in the league when it comes to set pieces and when it comes to corners. So it tells me more that we hardly concede goals, and then if we do concede, a part of it is set pieces, and then because we only conceded 3 or 4, I don't know exactly the number, it's already 26%. But from all the teams in the Premier League, we have the best record in defending corner kicks. At least that's my data. But we are aware of the fact that we again face a team like Newcastle with Everton. That is a team that is very strong in set pieces because we conceded the first goal in the Merseyside derby from a set piece. And we conceded a goal against against Newcastle from a set piece. And I've said many times that in big games, and the Merseyside derby is one of them, the big Champions League games, a final is one of them, you cannot win a big game if you have a negative balance in your set pieces. And our main competitor at the moment, Arsenal, shows us on a weekly basis the importance of set pieces. So we are focused on it. We want to do better in our attacking corners, but I'm hoping we can keep our record as being the best team in the league defensively by defending corners.
The last one.
Just checking team news, Arne, Gravenberch and Alisson, are they okay, and how far away is Conor Bradley from?
Ryan is okay, although we have to train one more time, but he's okay. Ali trains with us as well. The last check has to be made. I think that's this afternoon, after the session, if he's available to play. And Conor is training with us again, but we have to make a decision on whether he's playing, and if playing means coming in or starting, that's something I keep for myself. But he's only had a few sessions after being out quite long with a repetitive injury. Is that the way you say it? Yeah. So we have to make a smart decision with that as well.
Thanks, Arne.
You're welcome.
Yes.